You know what it costs? I didn't answer the dates. My grandson.
Hello and welcome to the Milford Finance Committee, Wednesday, June 13th, 2018. First item on the agenda, the approval of the meeting minutes for April 30th.
Move to approve tonight.
Motion by Chuck, second by Aldo. All those in favor? Unanimous.
One abstain, Mr. Chairman.
And one abstention from Mr. DeVita. Second item on the agenda, the town engineer. It had been, time flies, it's been about 6 months since we had, oh, I'm sorry.
I wasn't at that meeting, I'm sorry.
No problem, so abstention for Chuck as well.
Engineer is right here.
So actually, he can't make the
If
motion.
you wanna know, I don't like did that.
So let's do that again, guys.
Good
So,
engineer.
motion by Aldo, second by Joycey.
Like the purple.
All those in favor? Two abstentions.
What did I
Memory.
move?
It was
Yeah.
What did I
motion by
move?
Chuck, second by
Motion by
Al.
Chuck, second by Joyce.
No,
Okay, Joyce.
Bobby wasn't here,
Chuck.
and Chuck wasn't here either. So Aldo and Joyce.
How much is that watch weigh?
All right, I apologize. So it's time flies. It's been 6 months since we had Mike in, and when he first came in, really, it was just a hello. It's nice to meet you, and it's been quite a bit. So I wanted to have him come in, give us an update. We got a lot going on with the town, engineering-wise, water and.
Come over there.
No, I should have one.
It's not Joyce.
Jack and I can look on together. I have to read it
If
to
not,
him
yeah,
anyway.
we'll share.
He does.
So this is just a
I'll take a
memo, we'll
picture.
go over it.
Perfect.
No, that's what I said, I would've shared too, huh?
It was on the memo.
Bobby, I have to read it to him anyway, so I might as well have it.
I think I have a couple more.
I can share with Diana. Here. We're good, Mike.
Diana.
If you have it, I'll take it, but if not.
Oh, got an extra one, perfect.
Him.
All right, Mr. Dean, you have the floor.
Okay, so as you had just mentioned, it's been about 6 months. So there'll be a couple items on here that were on the same update that I gave you 6 months ago, or the update that I gave you 6 months ago. Let's see, item number 1. That was on the fiscal year 2018. That's why I left it on here. That was just software and the large format printer that was done within, completed within budget, so. Fisk Mill Bridge, once again, that was completed on time and under budget, September of 17. The hazard mitigation plan. So there's a lot of dates in there, but basically, it's gone back and forth between FEMA, the town's consultant, and it just got sent back to FEMA for final approval.
Okay, what's the time frame on that? How long do they usually take
Yeah,
for
so
final?
last time I was there was 6 months, and I said in the memo that whole process took about 6 months.
Yeah,
So 6 months later, we probably still have about a month.
okay, but we're at the end of the
Yes.
marathon. All right.
Yes, absolutely. And then once FEMA approves it, what that's technically called is approval pending adoption. So once that comes back, we still have to clean it up here in terms of adopting it, and ultimately the Board of Selectmen will adopt that plan.
Okay.
The EPA stormwater, MS4. Last time I was there 6 months ago, that was up in the courts. I broke this up in 2 different areas. We'll just talk about what's taken place recently, and then later on in my memo, we'll talk about what's on the fiscal year 2019 in terms of, costs that are on the 5-year capital plan. So basically, or you may or may not know, but the courts sided with EPA. So now we're picking up essentially where we were a year ago. The new effective date is July 1, 2018. So we're picking up, and the first action item, so to speak, is the notice of intent. So that's already 50% complete. It's just been put on hold for a year pending the court case, and like I says, it's full steam ahead now. July.
What does that mean?
What does that mean in terms of?
Money.
Right now, to complete the notice of intent, we already have all the funds that are in place for that. Like I said, we were supposed to accomplish this a year ago. It was not supposed to, it was put on hold because it was in the court case, so we stopped where we were and we were already 50% complete. So all the funding for that notice of intent action item, we already
I
have.
don't worry about the notice of intent, I worry
Yes.
about,
Yeah, going forward. So like I says, later on, we'll talk about the first item that's on the 5-year capital plan, in the 2019. I saved all the new items towards the end of this memo, and we'll address it then. The 319 grant project, that's the constructed wetland on the corner of Sumner Street and Diller Street. That was like I said, the 319 grant project, that's gonna be finishing up the end of June, on time and under budget. That total project was about $376,000 project. That was split up with the 319 grant, 40% the town, and 60% the DEP paid for it, the state. So, like I said, a total of $376,000. The 40% amounted to $150,000 from the town. The TIP project is the Main Street project from Water Street up to Route 140 in the hospital. That's moving along. That, the state signed off on the 75% design phase of the plans. The plans are pretty much 100% completed now. They'll be in front of the conservation in June of this month. June this month.
Yep.
Of 2018, So that's moving forward. The appraisals have been done, for land takes, things of that nature. The appraisals assess all those easements, and it goes through a whole process. They even get reviewed by a second appraiser, and that's where the appraisals are now, with the second appraiser. And the legal department's working on the legal documents that are associated with that process.
And we had put money aside already, 4 town meetings ago, I believe, it
Yeah.
was, for the acquisition of those
Yes,
parcels.
Fall of 2016, I believe it was, when I had just gotten here.
Yeah, yep,
And that, in this memo, it does say that the funds are there already.
yep. Bobby?
Mike, is there a tentative shovel in the ground date for this project?
Well, it's slated for, I'm saying.
I know it's very fluid, but,
Spring of 2019, I think.
well, that's pretty quick, spring, that's less than a year away. Okay, thank you.
Item number 8 is just the, another coalition, Massachusetts coalition, that's paid for. We're gonna renew that, and that's paid for by the highway department, that's all in their budget. This is a new item that I would not have discussed that with you last time I was here. Charles River Watershed Association, CRWA. We're working with them in collaboration, we're working in collaboration with the CRWA in dealing with stormwater activities. This project is total value, the initial value is a $200,000 value for this project, and it's at no cost to the town. And we're gonna be working in collaboration with the Charles River Watershed Association. The $200,000 is broken up into a $50,000 portion of that is for designing and planning, and there's a $150,000 portion of that will go towards infrastructure. There's another component of this project in which we submitted a grant to the state under, 604B program, which deals with water quality planning. And that's only for $25,000, but, every little bit helps. So this project is worth potentially worth $225,000, at the minimum $200,000, at no cost to the town. And this is, once again, to deal with activities associated with stormwater management, and that will be able to be credited towards the work that we'll be doing for the MS4 as well. So,
Before you flip, can you hit number 7?
number 7. Oh, the MVP. Municipal Vulnerability Preparedness Grant Program. That's something that the town received a $20,000 grant. This deals with climate change and how it impacts the community. This actually complements the hazard mitigation plan, and I'm told that once we become a certified MVP community, it'll look good when we submit with using the hazard mitigation plan, and that we have the MVP when we submit for funding.
Is the 20,000 complete the MVP? It's
Yes.
not that this
Yep.
is starting and once
Nope.
you're certified, you have to get recertified as an MVP, or is this?
I would imagine that the program will continue on.
Okay.
I don't know exactly the details once we become.
Because I'm sure it was a grant for the 20 this time, but
Yeah.
maybe 3 years from now, they're gonna end up getting us
Right.
for the 20 next time.
And then we'll be able to gauge that, though, to see if it was worth, the free $20,000.
Yeah.
And then if we don't feel that it was worth it,
Yeah.
then we drop out.
Okay.
Okay. So for fiscal year 2019, the 5-year capital plan, proposed projects is what I listed here.
What 5-year capital plan?
The 5-year capital plan that I was required to submit to FinCom, not FinCom, Finance Department, that, for a department
When was
head.
this submitted?
Well, the original,
Well, I'm just curious, because the capital group has never seen it.
it was submitted January 3rd, 2017. I believe I may have, well, I mean.
Okay, I'm just
This is what I
curious.
was asked to do back
No, I believe you, I
from the
just,
finance.
I've
I
never
believe in
seen
the
it.
meetings, you know, they discuss, I believe a lot of this information gets, I'm assuming that information gets sent to the
please,
FinCom, but,
please in the future, don't assume, because
Okay.
total for next year is nowhere near what you have here.
total for next year in terms of,
Capital,
Capital funding.
capital funding,
okay,
I mean, I'm seeing numbers in here that seriously dwarf what we have budgeted, so. Not saying we won't do it, but we need to have a heads up.
okay,
So whatever you sent to Zach, can you send to Al?
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Yep.
that'd be great.
I can even leave,
And in the future, when you do update and that kind of stuff, CC to whoever, send it to both parties, because I know that the finance department, the selectmen are doing their own, look at capital.
Yep.
But it really is, it is in conjunction with ours, but it is still separate, where Zach does his and Al does his. So anytime, just in the future, just CC Al,
Not a problem.
that'd be great.
yeah.
Just to
I mean,
keep
that
us
was
in
the
the
first
loop.
one I did. you
Yep.
know, was in
No,
January.
I just,
I
that's what
handed
I'm
it up
saying,
to,
as
Yep.
a heads up.
That's
because
perfect, yeah.
We've already
Okay.
planned, and this is new.
yeah, and I can give you a couple stripped down versions anyway, it doesn't have all the backup information, but
Yeah.
Perfect.
that's what
Awesome.
it's.
Thanks.
Okay, so the 5-year capital plan that you guys don't know about, how about if I say that? The EPA, stormwater management, stormwater MS4 permit. The first year, this has been in several other renditions of these capital plans that I've seen in the files, so to speak. And, you know, it gets complicated, but basically this permit is broken down into, the first 5 years is basically the planning, analyzing. I mean, just to keep it simple, I would call it the planning stage, is the first 5 years of this permit. And we're slated for, you know, $400,000, $400,000, $200,000, that's what's at least listed in that capital.
No, we had it out there, I just, when you say the 18, is that this year on your list? Because I know there's always confusion.
This looks like it's calendar, not fiscal.
No, those are fiscal years. I did this in January. We don't have I haven't done the last 50.
No, but 2018, you got 400,000 EPA permits.
Yeah, well, that got put on hold, so we didn't do anything there in 2018.
So that 18 number, that 400 would be this fall.
Correct.
400 right there.
Okay.
So everything on that list, we're just bumping back 1 year.
Right,
Okay, perfect.
yep. And that's not gonna have, you know, the 5th year completed, because I haven't.
No, that's fine.
So it's 23 instead of 22.
Yeah.
Yep.
So the first 5 years of this permit is essentially, I would refer to as the planning stage of the permit. That's where you analyze all the drainage, you come up with a game plan, so to speak. It's very complicated, it's intricate, it's testing water, it's a whole bunch of things. And then year 6 is when you actually start implementing this permit. When you actually go out and start constructing these best management practices or these detention ponds like you see on Sumner Street.
Yep.
That have been designed in the first 5 years. And that's where the quote, big money.
Well, I was just gonna say, so I just wanna make sure that everyone understands, so the 1.5 million, plus all of these secondary things that we're doing, MVP, the basin, at the end, the combination of all that stuff on year 6 is gonna tell us what our bill is. Is that correct?
Yeah, it'll give us a better picture, but, and then.
Our bill is gonna be determined by what that 1.5 million finds and what we've done already in work with the MVP and all the other stuff.
That's gonna paint the picture.
That's gonna paint the
Which
picture.
will give us a
Okay.
little bit better understanding of what we actually have to do in
Okay.
terms of going out and actually building these things.
Okay.
And implementing programs such as, you know, public education, illicit discharge detection, there's all kinds of things.
Now, as a planning purpose, will we start to evolve through the years in getting a better idea of what that price could be? Because the problem is the price is gonna be astronomical. It's gonna, to be honest, it's gonna be something we can't afford.
Yep.
But I don't wanna find out in year 5 that year 6 is gonna be $60 million, whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Will we know by year 2 or 3 to at least be able to start to get an idea what we're gonna be looking at? Because
Yeah.
these numbers are so huge, it's just.
Just over $40 million.
That's what I mean, it's money we can't even come up with.
Yeah.
And well, it certainly would give us a better chance if we knew right now that it was gonna be that versus in year 5 telling me that in year 6 I owe $40 million.
Yeah, I would say after, after the first year or so.
We'll
we
start
can
to get a better
regroup,
picture.
We can regroup and see where we're at and
Okay.
see if that number's still 40, 43 million.
I wasn't sure how the program worked, if you got any hint of what we might be looking at, or it's all of a sudden, all right, here's the number.
Yeah, and then it's spread over 15 years.
Yeah.
The total permit is 20 years. The first 5 years is the planning stage, the last 15 years is the implementation phase, and that's where the big money is.
Yeah.
Not that these other funds are not big money, but
Yeah.
that's where the,
But from what you're showing us, you're looking in this fall for $475,000.
or 400.
We gotta do some serious recalculating of what capitals are gonna be, because that puts us at $2.5 million. And next year gets worse, because he's got $1 million in this line just for 1.1 out of 1.5, just for these programs.
Well, we could, we can discuss that larger number that's associated with the Godfrey Brook, which, yeah, it's associated with a drainage system, but that's just for the flooding control that the town's worked on, so we can discuss that and see if we can, go to FEMA and get some funding there, if we can push it off, I mean,
Well, getting funding would be great.
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
875 really kind of
Right.
hurts.
yeah, but right now, without the hazard mitigation plan in place and things of that nature, we haven't even attempted to design that section and then send that to FEMA.
And that was one of the reasons that when the hazard mitigation plan expired, that we knew what the repercussions of that was going to be, and the ability to go to FEMA for projects like that was now gonna be on a 2-year hold, basically. And what a problem
Sure.
that situation was, so.
Yep.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Are we still one of the few lucky communities that have to do this in the Commonwealth?
What, the MS4?
Yeah.
Well, for phosphorus we are, but there's plenty of,
How do we get so lucky?
yeah, well, because we have the Charles River.
Charles River.
I'm
Charles
I'm
River,
trying to,
yeah, because we have the Charles River, but the other towns, they need to do the same thing, we just have the Charles River and we're dealing with phosphorus. They have to deal with other aspects that, it's something referred to as total, TMDLs, is total maximum daily loads that the EPA puts on a water body, and what the community can dump into that.
Mhm.
And the TMDL, total maximum daily load of phosphorus or nitrogen, things of that nature, so other towns have to deal with other issues.
and how about the other communities that have rivers going through there?
Yeah, they have to,
And they're as lucky as we are?
yeah, there is.
Oh, good, that's fine. I want to spread the wealth.
Now,
But
is
you know,
there,
Milford's a fairly good-sized community for this area, and we have a lot of impervious, and that's a pretty good generator, and
now, is there an appeal in on the May 28th, May 18 ruling? Is that something we can appeal? I mean, I know they had the judgment, is that anything
I
that,
haven't seen a whole lot coming through the emails or meetings or anything to that effect. They're telling us that July 1,
Green light.
2018 is
Okay.
the effective date. And then, let's see, fiscal year 2019 capital plan is the Milford Pond Dam bypass gate. Well, we good with that, I'm sorry, moving on. Are we good with? the
I'm not good with spending $40 million,
No,
but I guess I have no
in our
choice.
discussion right now, before I move to the next
I'm
item.
kidding, I know.
Choice.
Yeah. Yes, we're good, Mike. I was just kidding with you.
Yeah, so the Milford Pond Dam bypass gate, there's some money slated for fiscal year 2019 in the budget, in the 5-year plan, $188,000.
But now that's this fall, correct?
Yes, yep,
So that would be
588.
188, 1, 2, 3, okay.
and that's for design and construction to,
Yeah, that was done a long time ago, the inspection.
Mr. Chairman?
Yeah, of course, absolutely.
You mentioned the dam. We worked on the pond itself.
yep.
We never dredged beyond the dam. Is there any wisdom in why we didn't. I mean, it's all to protect against stormwater. I mean, you can go, you know, it's like a forest,
Yeah.
from the dam down to, Main Street.
Yeah, it's my understanding, the amount of dredging that we were allowed to do, that was the maximum amount we could do with the
Well, I see,
permit.
I just don't understand, if we're gonna keep water here, we don't want it to get there,
Yeah,
you know, it's,
Quite often
the idea
it's-
is to move the water so you don't get a flood.
well, exactly, so EPA would like that dam probably down, so the
Okay.
area that we were able to dredge to get
Yeah, all right.
nice depth of water, it's
I just-
my understanding.
Yeah,
That was the maximum
I-
allowed through EPA, Army Corps, everything.
I just thought it was
If it was up to
curious.
EPA, they'd probably like to pull the dam
We
down.
spent the money so that we had water in the pond,
Yep,
and then,
that was a
We
good
didn't-
fight, though, that we were able to
Yeah,
retain that,
okay.
because if it was up to EPA, they'd probably like to tear the dam down.
one of these days, maybe someone will say, well, why don't we clean it out so the water can actually move?
Bobby?
Is the gate functional now?
Well, it needs some repairs.
Is it functional?
I don't think it's probably been open or functioning in quite some time,
I'll take that as a no.
but, yeah. And I'm not sure, I'm not 100% sure, I'll tell you the truth.
When it's repaired, who's responsible for the operation of it? Who determines when it should be open, closed, how much it should be open, when should it be closed?
On the dam, or rather on the,
I assume the town's responsible for any repairs.
Yeah, well, the town's
But
responsible.
who's the
for it.
gatekeeper?
Who's the gatekeeper?
That holds the water.
I would
in
think,
Milford.
if we were ever to go out there for a massive hurricane, it would either be, you know, the highway and myself communicating with each other, or
trees.
something to that effect, but I don't know if there's a program or protocol.
So there is
out there.
no strict guidelines?
No, I don't
I mean,
believe
we're
so.
gonna
That
fix
I'm-
something
not that I'm
that isn't
aware of.
working. It seems to be working since July of 2016. It was frozen then, I think it's frozen now. I mean, I think we should go the extra step and say, hey, once we get it fixed, somebody has the role and responsibility to say, here's when we lower it, here's when we increase it. It makes sense to me, maybe
Yeah.
not to anyone else.
Who has the keys to the car?
Who's
Yeah.
got the keys to the car, yeah.
Okay, cool, understood.
Good point, Bobby.
Point made,
Yep,
thank you.
very good.
I think before we allocate the money, that should be clear. Because once the money's allocated, it'll be, okay.
Oh, yeah. Yep, I
So,
totally
you know,
agree.
Before we go before town meeting, that ought to be, Bobby's got a really good point. We ought to know who's got maintenance on the car.
The gatekeeper.
And then the Godfrey Brook that we just talked about from Church Street to Water Street. There's $75,000 on the capital plan for design in that section.
Well, that's a nice to do.
Excuse me?
Is that a nice to do?
No, I believe they have issues, flooding issues there.
Well, no, I'm getting a little nervous because there's an extra $400,000 that wasn't planned. So I'm just wondering if push comes to shove, what we can move around.
Sure.
But I mean, is that critical to design this year?
I'll talk to Highway and we can discuss
Okay.
it and we can talk with you guys and I.
No, it's.
It actually
legit.
got moved up since I've been here. I don't believe that was even on the, but we can
Yeah, just
figure it
talk,
out.
'cause Scotty may have to give up one of his new toys, one of his new big trucks,
Yeah.
to fit it in, so it's a good discussion to have with him.
Yeah,
Okay. Got anything else you want to talk to us about, Mike?
nope,
Nothing that doesn't.
Pretty cheap
cost
night
money?
for you, 40, what, 40 million?
40 million.
Well,
Got
thank
A lot of
you.
drainage out there.
Yep. Before I open up for questions, thank you very much for coming in, and, you know, over the summer months, October's gonna be here before you know it, so, with this amount of stuff, we wanna be in contact with the capital, subcommittee on our group, the executive committee on, the finance committee, and really, we need to hammer things out, because we don't really meet again usually till September, and we need to be ready, you know, to start running with October town meeting articles at that time. So really, just make sure you keep us in the loop, because these are big numbers, so, and we are gonna have to play a show game with some stuff here, because, we got a lot on there. So, with that being said, has anybody else got any questions for Mike?
Thanks, Mike.
I can get one.
All right, thanks so much for coming in, Mike, I appreciate it. Have a good night.
You know, I'll send you what we have, so you can look it over.
Yep.
We're gonna send you to Rick and select and say this is what we have total for town government. And then we'll see what.
Because there is gonna be a show game.
Oh, fine, yeah.
There's gonna be a show game. I don't think we can, even think about tackling an amount of that, so.
40 million?
No, well,
Petty cash?
no. I meant just the capital for next year.
Yeah, so, I mean, eventually we're gonna have to figure out how we wanna pay for it.
We are gonna-
Utility, you know, the terms, utility, I'm sure we've all heard it, but,
There's no question. A toll on Route 16, whatever.
yeah, whatever it takes. All right?
Thanks,
All
Mike.
right,
You're
thanks.
good.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mike.
All right, next item on the agenda, I had the Parks Department, just to give us a quick update. And one of the other things, more of an update, is a project the Parks Department, come on. That the Parks Department is looking to maybe do in the October town meeting. And it is exactly what I just said regarding Mike, is that, you know, by the time we start meeting again, October town meeting for capital is, I mean, it's upon us. So we really need to get anything lined up that is gonna possibly be seen in October and start getting some information on it. Because, you know, with the summer schedule and that kind of stuff, we need to get going on it now. So with that being said, Mr. Braza.
Good evening, everybody. Paul Braza, Milford Park Commissioner. Our probably number one concern in the Parks Department is finding a home. And we've had a few discussions of some possible, we had a $300,000 on a 5-year plan for forever of trying to put up a building that got skirted to the side. Just like Mr. Correa says, a shell game. Wasn't like necessity, but we are at the busting out scene because Scott's about to kick us out because he doesn't have any room to put what he has, as you said, Scott's toys. You know, he's storing equipment that outside that's worth double what the Parks Commission equipment is worth, and we needed to find a home, and you know, we have a potential great location of I think it's 6,000 square feet, or 5,000 to 6,000 square feet over at the Pinto's facility. That's probably going to come to the tune of I think between 40 and 50,000 a year if we're leasing. But again, that fulfills all of the park's temporary trailers at Pheno Field, everything we store in Scott's, everything we store outside. I mean, that would be a nice permanent home. Mr. Pinto has done a build-out with bathrooms, offices, and everything, so it could be a permanent fix. I understand from a finance committee standpoint, we're not in the business to lease and that, but I think that Mr. Pinto in the future has discussed possibly putting the entire property up for sale. So I think this would be a temporary home with, hopefully with the presentation, I know Scott's on board with this, of making Front Street Town of Milford Street, because that's the only other thing on that street. So if Milford was to acquire the property of Pinto's Plumbing, it would basically, Front Street would go away. And
Yeah, Paul, where is that?
6 Front Street is the property, is
Soap barn.
adjacent to the highway
The
department.
salt barn.
Oh, okay.
Right next to the highway.
Right next to the highway.
Okay, okay.
Yep, so, I mean, we need to do it. We need a home. Before we have to do drastic measures where Scott comes in and has a discussion with you people that, you know, Parks Department can no longer be there. We went from the basement of the high school. We've been through a lot of little baby homes, as I like to call it.
I just want to, so that you hear it from someone else, I was at the meeting with Scott and the Parks Department, in which he basically, without being written on paper, gave them an eviction notice. And that's where that currently is at. There really is, the cohabitation is not working out with space, personalities, everything, that we need to address this situation. The can't be kicked down the road anymore, and that's the way it is right now. So how we handle it is obviously, we're gonna work with the Parks Department and figure out what we're doing, but at this point, it has to be
I
addressed.
mean, we're gonna be looking to try to put an article on the October town meeting to at least finance yearly the lease. And so we
You
can.
mean for 1 year?
Well,
Because then it'd be built into your budget.
that might be the road we have to go into. I mean, I think that nobody will lease you for 1 year, number one,
No,
not
no,
with the.
no, but I'm just saying, we've been pushing you to find a permanent home.
Correct.
And we've been saying the best place we can think of is Front Street.
Correct.
Because then you've got everybody together, you got all the machines, all the mechanics, everything all together. So, I mean, I don't think, I mean, it appears that you think there's some hesitancy on our part.
I don't think there's hesitancy, but there's a lot of processes
Yeah.
that have to go on.
No, Paul, I guess
in
what
order
I'm
for that,
saying
and
is-
in order for that to happen, and that's, I think that's where we're at now, because, you know, basically, anything that this town does, you're supposed to go out for bid for. But now we have to prove that that location is subsidiary to any other location in the town of Milford. Okay, and that's, so there's a bunch of processes that have to
I think-
happen, I think, before
Paul,
we
anybody
meet
with
September.
contiguous building and space should be able to build on it. You know, I don't know if there's any contiguous space.
There isn't,
Yeah.
there isn't.
So,
There isn't, so I'm just, you know, I'm
Yeah.
putting the full spectrum.
And that's what I wanted him to come in and do. I wanted him to get some feedback from the people. I am on the same page as them. I don't know where else they could be that would be better than that location. It fits perfectly to have a Milford compound right there. And, you know, God forbid, whether the water company does happen, doesn't happen, they could go there for some space beyond their other stuff, you know, but
we've been
it's,
pushing them, when they wanted to go out to Hopkinton, we said, no, too far, we can't support it. When they wanted to go to Pheno
But that was
Field.
free. I mean, Al, I'm sorry. to
No, but I'm
interrupt
just
you.
saying,
Yeah.
I know you guys didn't like the
Free?
free part of that.
I love free, it's like the free youth
rather-
center
we'd
for
rather
$1.
Yeah.
Yes, but when you wanted to go other places, we couldn't support it, because we kept saying the optimum is to get the two departments together.
Agreed.
So now it seems like you're finally coming with a plan that we've been begging you for. I think we'd be hard pressed to say, just kidding, you know, go back out to Hopkinton or someplace and.
Right, well, that's, again, that's where, you know, now it's on the table. Okay, so the budget, you know, let's, again,
I
I'm throwing
love
out
the
numbers, I'm
idea-
saying a $50,000 a year budget to lease.
Yeah, Polly, I love the idea of putting it on the table and getting it clear for Benny that we want first right of refusal, that when it's the right time to sell the property,
Yeah,
we want it.
yeah,
yeah, either that, you know, think about an option to purchase as well.
That's
absolutely.
what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah,
That-
I-
that-
First right of refusal is
To
different.
buy it.
There is,
Yeah.
there,
No,
you
first
know,
right of refusal to buy it, Phil.
Yeah.
and.
But you might wanna negotiate a price now.
Oh, that'd be nice.
And we've, you know, the joking Benny conversations, which anybody who knows Benny Pinto, there is joking Benny conversations, is he does have a number in his head, and
Yeah, okay, good.
I'm saying,
Yeah.
and he would, I think he's had outside offers of people to come and continue the plumbing supply house and everything else, but he knows in his world, it's, the right fit is for us. And so that number should be discussed and maybe negotiated, so when we meet, you, like you said, you meet again in September, it's something that's already up here in everybody's mind.
Yep.
Let's, you know, at least for a couple, 2 or 3 years until the town can decide that they wanna purchase the place or
I
whatever,
would just go, let's lease until it makes sense on
Yeah.
both sides to buy.
and have a buy number.
We don't have to say in 32.1 months we're gonna do it, just,
Yeah.
here's where we're going someday,
Yeah.
and we'll lease until it's right.
I agree.
Yeah, but I would work at getting a number, Paul.
No.
Okay?
Yeah.
You know,
Paul, on the lease charge, it sounds like you're talking about $7-8 a foot or something like that. Is that
It's,
good?
it's, it's actually a little bit less.
Is that good, bad, and different in terms of the market?
It's actually cheap. Right now, commercial space in Milford is 10, 11 a square foot, triple net. So it's not, you know, and he has it's not like we're renting a rat house. He's got a brand new warehouse that he built an addition on the back 5 years ago that he's not using. Double garage doors, state-of-the-art heating, you know, nothing that we're gonna spend any money on the infrastructure on other than maybe some equipment for the Parks Department to get up and running, you know, because they're in their own home, they're not sharing with the highway anymore. I think that would be the thing, but it's a state-of-the-art facility, ton of parking for trailers, everything else that we have sitting at Pheno, we have sitting here, we have sitting you know,
Just
we
getting
have-
stuff inside
We have no
is huge.
control over
And you
our
would lose
inventory
$50,000 in
because
the
it's in so many
depreciation of those
places.
vehicles.
And he just answered, Paul just answered my main question. The only other question I would have is, if it's there, could you do a cost out as to whether, which is gonna pay the greatest dividend for the town? Do we purchase it or do we lease it? Because in my senses, I'd rather own it.
I mean,
I'd rather
I'll-
own
no
it from day
disrespect,
one.
But anybody who knows the highway department as it's growing, equipment-wise, Scott's getting a lot of state-of-the-art equipment and everything else. It's a great parcel of property.
Understood, but we're dealing with the Parks Department now,
Yeah.
highway is.
Yeah, I
we're
understand.
coming. But I think what you need to do is you make the case that purchase today is gonna be a very good purchase because the cost of the property is not gonna come down
No.
in 5 years or 10 years.
Very true.
And I'd rather not get rental receipts. I'd rather get a thing that on my mortgage book is being paid up. That's.
I don't disagree, but the process that
You
goes
need
through
to
the finance
process, but what
committee.
you need to do is do both presentations.
Yeah.
Because if I'm on the town meeting floor, I'm gonna ask you, why did you not come up with buying it? You know, 5 years from now, we have the right to purchase. 5 years, you know, we spent $250,000, $300,000 renting the thing.
But Aldo, it depends too on when Benny's ready.
Yeah,
It's
okay.
not just
Yeah,
us.
but like.
Sounds like,
It's
Money could be a
Money-
motivator.
if the number's there,
Yeah,
Benny's ready.
yeah.
But again, I'm just gonna go back to Pheno Field Lights, and no disrespect to everybody in the sport. We funded, and
And
in
then
the
we
end,
still
we had to
needed more
spend another
money.
extra $150,000.
Right, we
in
still
our
needed more in the end of the
thing.
day.
And that's where I'm agreeing with
That's
Aldo's
what I don't
take
wanna
is
have happen.
We don't want it to go from, I'm just
Remember
gonna
we
say
said we won't have to-
$1.7
we had to come
million
up with
to
$150?
$2.4 million, because that's what it's gonna be worth, you know, come that point in time. So, yeah, maybe that's actually, you know, great, you know,
But
double
Paul,
presentation.
we got a finance group, Zach
Make
is
him-
great.
make
He
him
can
an
look
offer he can
at the
refuse.
cost of money and come up and say, it's
Yeah.
a good idea now, and by the way, I can bond it, or, you know, one of the reasons you put it off is you don't have the cash. So
Yeah,
who
but-
knows?
We're not,
right.
again, maybe I'm wrong in this, but I mean, a couple $1 million to acquire a property and everything else.
It may be absolutely
In
doable.
in the big picture, it's not a, you know,
And the guy before you said 40 million?
I know, I heard it, that's why,
You heard that
this is
number?
why I'm doing this right now, because I heard Mike's presentation, so.
Yeah, the man before you
He
said.
did put us in a sour mood.
Yeah, he did. He put this up.
You know, last year, the school said 30 million.
Yeah.
So I think Aldo's on the right track, that if you put together a dual track plan,
Yeah.
then we evaluate it and we decide, you know, if we got a good surplus, maybe, you know, how many times we've said we're gonna budget it, and then we have a good year and we just buy it. But we need the data, that's all.
Okay, well, the data needs to be put together, and it will be put together,
Yep.
because
Yeah.
I think it sounds, if anybody has any, you know, other questions, I mean, I think I've kind of put it on the table how I felt.
Yeah, and I agree. I don't want this issue going past October.
Yeah.
And that's why I wanted you, and it can't.
It can't.
That's why I wanted to
can't
have you
go
guys
past
in here. I
October.
want this addressed. I want you guys taken care of by October, whatever we take care of. But to me, I wanna do it now. I'm not gonna kick it down the road and wait about, we're gonna maybe next May, we'll do it, we'll put it in your budget. I wanna take care of it by October, so I wanna get the ball rolling so that when we get to September and we're looking at October town meeting, we can say X or Y, and we can decide what we wanna do.
This, and, you know, sorry, I got here late.
Oh, no, Kelly, you didn't miss it.
And my biggest thing is if you ever went in there, into the building and looked in the building, how we're storing our things and where we're storing them, I'm sure you went through it. It's also putting wear on the highway department as well, right? And this is stuff that we're purchasing. So, and if I would add up all the monies that we've spent on all of our equipment that is sitting outside, you wouldn't like it.
Yeah.
If you've already been through it. So, I mean, that's my major concern as a park
You would
commissioner.
think maintenance, yeah, you would be maintenance savings, yeah.
Who chairs the subcommittee for the Parks Department?
Are you, Joycey?
Joyce, okay, so
Yep.
maybe we should
And add
charge
some-
Joyce with
Yeah.
getting involved real quick,
Yeah.
because October will be here before you know it.
She's been part of
Yeah,
it,
she-
and
she
she's
knows,
well
yeah.
aware of our discussions.
But I mean,
Yep.
put the package together,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
presentation.
And you've got a pretty good head start on it with Uncle
We
Benny.
do, we have a
already.
great, we have a great head start. I already have a lease, proposed package per se. I have that in my possession. The sale package I don't, but I think we can come up with that pretty quickly and just have a presentation.
yeah.
You know, So you, like you said, you're gonna meet in September, so I'd probably wanna be on the
Mr.
September.
May I make a suggestion? Put together your package. Get it ready for our first meeting in September. Make a presentation here.
Yeah.
And around the table, there aren't too many shrinking violets. They're gonna tell you what we like, and we're gonna tell you what we don't like about the presentation. That gives you a chance to get it ready for October. You know, you can have a placeholder when they ask for articles. But you have to answer the questions that the town meeting are gonna ask before they ask them.
Oh, agreed.
You ask them, you tell them what they want to know before they ask you. And that's, the less discussion there is there, the more, you get.
I've been a town meeting member long enough. I understand.
Exactly.
Yeah. Aldo, to your point, I mean, you may wanna run it by the subcommittee,
Absolutely.
okay?
During the summer.
And during the summer.
Yeah, we'll
And
definitely
start
have,
that-
a couple summer
start-
meetings.
Start
to-
that ball rolling.
Yeah.
Aldo mentioned Zach helping you with the analysis, he certainly could do that.
Chairman?
But you should consider, the buy option.
I think it'd be in your best interest if you get the proposal to us 2 weeks before the meeting, because a lot of times people will come up and hand us everything, and we really can't.
You
I-
haven't read it. You haven't
Yeah,
read it.
so we're gonna have to be familiar with
Yeah,
it.
I think over the summer Joyce will, I think we can work with Joyce and kind of hammer something out that's gonna
And
be
then
presentable to.
Get something out to
Yeah,
the rest of the
mid-August,
committee, yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, that's a good.
This is gonna be
idea.
different because you know how we are, we're planners. And this obviously is an unplanned, I mean, we have been talking
Yeah,
about
right,
it, but
right.
it hasn't been formally planned for. So for us to make a couple
Rational
$1 million
decision, right,
decision in a half-hour period.
Not gonna work.
Yeah, I mean, the leasing is 100% Joyce's committee. It doesn't have to go in front of capital at all. But the buy part, we wanna know.
Right, but like you just said, Al, 3 years, you already spent $150,000.
No, I'm just saying, I wanna
You know
know
what I'm
what
saying?
the
That's,
buy
your
option is.
your interest you're paying in our money is a heck of a lot less than $50,000 a year, so I understand.
Before we move on with a couple other things that they have going on, does anyone else have any questions about the housing portion? All right. Any other updates about
Oh, we have
fields,
field.
maybe?
Which, Vino?
The turf field?
Turf field, we are still mulling back and forth the two locations. Just trying to find out what would be the best fit.
Mull faster.
Well, we understand, and we know they have the money sitting there waiting.
I just want to
be
take care of you guys. We did it. You guys
Right.
did a good
No,
job. We
no,
put the
right.
money away.
We don't wanna flip a coin, we wanna make sure we do.
And I don't
You know
mean
what
it,
I'm
and I
saying?
didn't
Between
mean it.
locations,
No,
that's all.
and I didn't mean it that way, and I'm not
Right.
asking you to make an uninformed decision because you're getting
Right.
pushed. The
Yeah.
point is, we did it, and, I want to get you
Yeah, no,
guys
no, I mean,
rolling on
but,
that.
We talk about this every
We still
meeting,
need to
too.
allocate
Every
another
meeting it
year.
comes up,
Yeah.
Pheno Field, great place to do it.
Yeah.
Parking, lights were already up, no
Even
big
between
deal.
when you decide where
But-
you think, there's still months of debate after that, so.
I understand that, so
is-
I'm just going, so Pheno Field,
You mean the real
we think,
Pheno or the annex?
the real Pheno, we can't do the
Annex, we
annex.
can't
No, it's a
Annex is a
floodplain.
floodplain.
Yeah.
So, you have that, but, you still have Milford's Nostalgia Baseball.
We
Now
weigh
we're-
different
now we're
options.
now we're turfing Milford's Nostalgia. The Pheno Field Baseball has
That's
been
not
on
gonna
grass
fly.
forever, and it's just like, so people are thinking, but
That won't fly.
if you look at every surrounding, a lot of surrounding communities,
Yeah,
they all are turfing their outfields. Not turfing the infield, but they're adding turf to it, so then we look at Town Park, Stacy side, where the other baseball field is and all that,
But also multi-purpose between Stacy and.
I'm saying, so now you're giving that option over there.
And also the school.
And the school, you're giving them that option, but a lot more housing. Parking could be definitely an issue, because you're only doing street parking, there's no parking, really parking lot, parking for any school functions, anybody that's in this room understands that. So,
What can we use the venue for? Can we use it to the town's advantage,
I just-
like someone like
As
Pheno?
long as
we
it's
can't,
over-
you can't put up lights,
No, no,
because you're gonna destroy every house around you,
yeah.
that's gonna be a town meeting debauchery is.
Oh, there's no question.
You know what I'm
And
saying?
that's one of
So,
the things we had talked
we're just trying to
As
debate
long
our
as
two
the
locations.
urination
Where the-
contest
where they
doesn't
won't
get
put
in the
lights.
way,
Yeah.
the school owns it,
It's like we have
Parks owns it,
we have
that
up
is a
at,
problem.
high school.
If the town owns it, pick what's best for the
Correct.
town.
And that's what, we've decided that. As a board, we're.
Right, we're not keen on the high school for the exact reason is the town has no control over it, the school has control
And
over it.
again, that should not be a consideration. I got a real problem if fiefdoms and urination contests dictate what's best for our kids.
No, but
I
it's just, so
you
we,
know,
we don't
go to
wanna,
town meeting, and if we're gonna do it, we make the ground rules, and we do what's best for our kids, not, this is my turf, that's your turf. So, pick the best for the
They've turned
kids,
over
and then we'll go
fields
from there.
no, sir, but again, that's where we're at. Every meeting, we hammer out another little item about where we're thinking about, and, you know, hopefully come September meeting, we'll have a home for it. You know what I'm saying? We'll have a starting point per se.
Yep,
that we
just-
can
I just
start,
wanna get the
so that we can
conversation,
start the
yeah.
next,
It's just, yeah, start fighting about
the
it.
next.
We will be
argument.
short on lights, if we need another year, you know that.
Yeah, we know that.
Okay.
Not if we put it at Fino. There's plenty of lights there. We already paid for those.
But I'm just saying, if you go anywhere else, we don't have the lights, we need another
And-
motion.
And to let you know, that's probably our biggest dilemma right now, other than parking, is lights for the field, to really utilize it over a certain amount. You can use it 1,000 more hours
You can't
with
put
lights.
lights at Town Park, you know.
No,
that.
that's what I'm saying, so,
People
but that's
hate
part
it.
of the debate.
Yeah,
That's
people
part of
gonna
our
hate
debate.
it.
That's not part of our debate. I mean, Woodland is amazing. I mean, it's being utilized to its fullest.
Yeah, but you still have
Lights.
6 or 8 people growling that now their bedrooms are lit up.
Look at those shades.
And there's a question too, now that we already have 2 lit fields, we have the high school, we have this, maybe we don't need a 3rd lit field too, but, you know.
If you're spending that kind of money
I,
on the turf,
trust me,
that's
I
what
like the
field.
lights. I like the
Yeah.
idea, cause I know how much that high school field, and when it starts to get into late fall and it starts to get into early spring, you know,
And our thing is like hosting tournaments. Teams love coming to Milford because of its
Yes.
location,
Yep.
our hospitality,
Yep.
and that could be another.
Question, speaking of lights, Rosenfeld lights,
Dan, who used to be on,
That is in the planning board stages right now.
so not this year, not next year?
No, it is,
Gives it hour speed.
we had a proposal come across the Parks Department for an over,
Dan.
Oh, Dan.
affordable housing over 55, Mr. Afonso's next phase. He has that proposal on with the planning board is,
So Dominic would pay for those lights?
I'm just gonna spend
600.
$600,000 to $700,000 to lighting, fencing, dugouts, everything on that.
So I just took it out of our budget.
No, but I'm just telling you, that's, so that's what it's,
Pause button.
that's the proposal to come before the planning board, and it came before us, and
Because we only had 150 in for lights, we didn't have 600 in. for-
I know, but that's what, again, they has to spend a percentile.
No,
You know that.
I'm not against spending Dominic's money, God bless him. But our money, we only had 150 in.
Right, so don't delete it yet,
Put it
because
put
it hasn't
put
gone
with
through
Uncle
planning board
Ben's.
yet. Yeah, it hasn't gone through, yeah. Yeah, put it
First
toward
3 years at
those, yeah.
least.
And then I think last big sticking item is the Pheno Field pool, the feasibility study. And, I mean.
I read something about
We're
that.
getting a lot more traction in our meetings where people are really digging in, and they wanna, you know, keep the nostalgia and, you know.
They have a
that
committee.
so they have a committee, you know, that
I was there.
that have been following us. No, but even last meeting, we had another
How much
group of
is
people.
that, Paul?
Huh?
How much?
I think that was
Right.
$60,000 for the feasibility?
Feasibility
For
was
feasibility.
58,000, 60,000.
58, yeah. So, but that is something that needs to go on October's, you know,
Town
meeting.
meeting.
We need to have it, because we need to know, from there, we need to know where we're gonna plan the next 2 or 3 years, you know, depending on which way this town's gonna go with that.
I don't like it, but I understand we have to. I don't
I
like
know.
spending 60 grand extra.
And we're right
But-
beside you, but again, the whole
You got no
game of
choice.
it is, if you don't,
No,
and
Paul,
we, let's just say we don't wanna do the pool for $5 million, then we haven't made that effort, so we're making the
It's
effort.
up to 5?
That's, yeah,
Oh, yeah,
because
that's
again,
And that's today.
And that's on the low end, to be honest with you.
That was,
Yeah.
it's about 5.5 right now. And that's just that's just a rough
Yes.
estimate without grabbing a shovel.
rebuilding it.
Redoing it, rebuilding it from scratch.
So
And
the
it-
existing pool itself cannot be restructured. It can't be rehabbed. So it'd be new construction.
But, so in that feasibility study, there is 2 items that we are going after is the pool, rebuilding it, handicap accessible and all that. And then we also looked at another option of a splash park, which kind of keeps still the same nostalgia and all that. Okay, you can't understand, but that's where today's society is going. I saw your
Yes.
face. But so, if we can keep the nostalgia down there, you know, you still have Fino Pool or Fino Splash Park, but it's a lot less money to construct, maintain, and we don't have to dig into the river.
Operating costs are minimal.
Our biggest thing is like, I don't know if anybody's aware of this, that pool wall is in the river,
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah.
It's not, there's nothing easy with today's
Yeah.
DEPs and all our laws that we have for conservation and water, that we're just gonna dig a pool next to a river. It ain't happening.
It sure isn't.
It's not happening. So that's where you hence your $5.5 million price if we plan on rebuilding a pool, because that's all gotta come out, that's all gotta go back in.
So what about chlorine
lot of
seepage and
permitting to do.
everything,
You
everything
know, the
else?
fact that we're still open is
I
amazing.
Yeah.
can't believe it.
Turn your mic off.
Yeah, that too
Although it could
shall-
solve our problem quick, though. All right, guys.
I don't know,
so
but,
nothing else.
Anything else on the pool?
you know, just, you know, probably a lawnmower. We have, I think we have
I
one.
think we do have a lawnmower on there,
We
don't
do have a lawnmower on
No.
there. Yes, we
Not
do.
Probably
We did.
this year.
Yes.
You have a pickup truck next year.
No, we had a lawnmower this year, October.
Just check on it, let us know. I thought you did too. But check on us, let us know.
Yeah.
We actually did it,
We just had this discussion.
Yeah, I thought you did too.
and we actually tested it
Tractor
out.
mower?
We tested it out
Yeah,
today
we
too.
just tested it out today.
Leave them alone.
How much is that?
Go after it,
It was like
'cause they're
35.
not gonna get it.
Oh,
Minor. Compared to
35 here, 35
I'm
there.
gonna talk to Mrs.
But it takes twice as much as one mower.
3,500 for all of that?
You think $35,000 is minor. We'll see what Joe and Mom say.
Yeah.
Wow.
I knew we had a lawnmower in there. I didn't think we had, I knew we didn't have pickup
No, a
truck.
tractor mower, so that's the lawnmower,
Yeah, we did have one in there.
but not just a lawnmower.
No, it's a tractor mower.
Okay. I just wanna make sure that then you don't come back and say, oh, but we need a tractor too.
Oh, no.
It's on tape now.
good tonight. Okay.
He hasn't gotten anything
With
yet,
your
he's just
numbers.
talking about it.
Listen, that just.
A lot of placeholders, though, I'll
Hey,
tell you
we
that.
had-
A lot of
we had to put it
placeholders.
all on the table, it's on
There you
the
go,
table.
that's nice,
I loved all baseballs to everybody, so catch them.
there you go.
Whoops. All right, guys, any other questions for Parks?
Yeah, I just have one, too. Yep.
Yeah, this concerns with, we were just talking about the Roosevelt Park area. We've had, as you know, spent a lot of money restoring Milford Pond. And by the boat ramp, which is next to Roosevelt Field, I see a lot of trash there.
I was supposed to tell you about that.
And it's something that I think we can fix, it's an easy fix. We can put, at the very least, 2 55-gallon drums chained to those iron benches that we have there. Maybe people coming back out of the water can throw the trash in there instead of the beer cans, coffee cups, bags, and an assortment of other items of trash. And then maybe we can empty it out once every 2 weeks or something.
No, we can monitor that, but my question is, and what we do find out, because we do go down there often to clean, is, it's kind of funny, a lot of stuff does wash up there, believe it or not. I don't know how it gets there, but it gets there. But a lot of people just do go down there and dump the trash. We have had barrels there in the past, but like you said, maybe we can, figure a way how we can
Secure the barrels.
secure the barrels there, yeah.
We could do
Because most people who go down there should be caring for it. I mean, it's, people who do use that are there for a
Most
reason.
people do, I've seen
Yeah.
it, but I've also seen people throwing trash around.
Yeah,
Yeah,
all right, we'll
that's-
address that.
That doesn't come off, the people from the water, that comes off the people that pull up there and wanna eat their lunch and watch and look at the pretty water, and then they do.
I was supposed to give you guys a heads up.
We can
on it.
address that, absolutely.
Right.
We'll do that tomorrow.
We'll address that tomorrow.
Yeah, I ask this question every year, so I have to ask it again. Plains Park, I mean, is there anything that we can do with the geese? I mean, there's kids playing games down there, they've just taken over the park. It's insane.
We've had people come in, we've done our I wouldn't mind, listen, I'd rather have 20 dogs run around there than have 300 geese.
Right.
So what we found in our research, you know, is because we're beside the body of water we're beside,
Yeah.
it makes it extremely difficult for us to control them. And I'm gonna give you a funny thing, is this past weekend is, you know, Mike Brashani and a couple of the other parks guys, they have starter pistols with them. So when they go down in the morning, you shoot a starter pistol, they try to, you know, mimic shooting.
Sure, yeah.
And they fly away.
But then
Well-
they come back.
Hang on. This Saturday, I went down myself
Yeah.
to do it. Walked out on the field with the starter pistols, and the geese, I think, turned around and laughed at me.
Yeah, sure I do.
They're used to it. So what
I'm
happens
like,
is they,
it's just,
And they get
they know
angry
your
with
pattern.
you. Yeah.
So they know they have those fake coyotes at Dean College. It doesn't work. They actually have dogs that run out there during the day just to throw them off in different
It's
directions.
too bad, because they've
And
And then they landed
I-
Fino, we talked
Right.
about
And a
this.
part of what they said is we had the people out. We built them a home over there too when we redid the pond. We actually built them a home because there's more vegetation up there for them and things like that. Believe it or that's
Cable TV, it was really nice.
Yeah, it really is. They like it. They want to stay. They actually want to stay through the winter.
To change the migratory
So-
I will tell you, I
bird
thought when I was going out there
definition.
myself, I was
Because
all
they only
excited.
migrate from Dilla
I
Street
shot and they go,
to Cedar Street.
turn
That's
around.
their
and they kept
migration.
walking.
back
They
and
were
forth.
born here.
Yeah.
Anyway,
They're
it's
Well,
about
that's
the
what they're saying.
fifth
We want-
generation.
I'm on the same
They
page.
changed the migratory bird act,
Background information on your new
so you can shoot 'em.
Shiny Memorial tractor mower. Could you get that to us so we can?
Yes.
get it out?
We actually are testing the right one that we wanna, you know, put up. We had a test today, that went very well, and we're gonna have another one that we're going to, you know,
Test.
also test, and don't refer to them as Brashani mowers.
It's not Tui Toys.
It's not Tui Toys, it's not Brashani mowers.
Tractors and hold on.
But whatever you choose, 5 questions, that would be really helpful to get it early.
Yeah.
Same thing with the feasibility study, so we can get it up on the web and people can feel comfortable that they're getting, early on visibility.
Information, yeah.
Now, you've got enough homework for the summer, right?
That's my summer homework.
Yeah.
Joyce, you take our notes for that, we're all set?
I'd give it to Arcudi, he didn't come on.
You notice he's, sorry, Joe, sorry.
All right, guys, anybody else for parks?
Thanks, guys.
All right, be in
All
touch
right,
with
thank you.
Joyce,
Thank you,
and
guys.
thank you guys so much for coming in, I appreciate it.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, see you later.
All right, next item on the agenda, subcommittee reports. I know Bobby had something for sewer.
Yeah, just real quick, Mr. Chairman, nothing really to talk about with respect to their operational budget, except that their debt is declining for FY '19, which is predictable. Our revenue stream is slightly lessened, our revenue stream from Hopkinton is slightly lessened, that is due to 2 factors. One, there's a lot of vacant buildings up there. And number 2, a couple of buildings have tied into a sewer system that goes through Hopkinton and I think eventually out to Westboro.
Westbrook.
Yeah.
But I did want to update the team on the moisture reduction plant that is, after numerous false starts and roadblocks, is back under construction. And they still anticipate that it will be completed in the spring of 2019. And that is a building that is gonna take moisture out of the affluent and reduce the cost to take it to landfill. It should pay for itself in 4 to 5 years. So we'll keep an eye on that and update your team periodically.
Sounds good. As usual, it sounds like the sewer's doing a great job.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Anybody else, subcommittee reports?
Just heads up on capital, obviously it's getting tight. Right now, we have 2.5 million, out of 1.4 million. So we're gonna have to,
So that's more.
yes,
Okay.
we're gonna have to do something with free cash or whatever, or cut back what we spend on capital,
Neither
like
one.
every year.
Neither one of those are good decisions, so
No, but it's the same as every year.
gonna figure it out. All right, with that being said, turn it over to Mr. Chaky.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We do our annual election of officers for the Finance Committee. I'm prepared this evening, Mr. Chairman, to give you a recommendation for chairman, vice chairman, and 3 members, 3 of the at-large members of the Executive Committee. I'd like to put the name of Chris Moran in to nominate for a chairman for fiscal 19. Are there any other nominations? Hearing none, I'll close the nominations, and I will cast one vote for Mr. Moran. Congratulations. Vice Chairman, I'm prepared to recommend Alberto Correa for fiscal 19 as Vice Chairman of the Finance Committee. Are there any other people to be nominated? Hearing none, I'll close nominations, and I will cast one vote for Alberto Correa as the Vice Chairman of the Finance Committee. I'm prepared to nominate 3 people as the at-large members: Jeff Nero, Joyce Levine, and Bob DeVita, to serve as the ex-official, the at-large members of the Executive Committee. There will, for everybody's information, there will be 5 members. The chairman and the vice chairman, by virtue of their positions, are members of the Executive Committee. So at this time, Mr. Chairman, I place those names in nomination. Are there any other names? Hearing none, I close the nominations. I will cast one vote for Jeff Nero, one vote for Joyce Levine, and one vote for Bob DeVita as the at-large members of the Finance Committee for fiscal 19. That closes the nominations, Mr. Chairman. I would like to present one motion, if I may, since we're leaving the Executive Committee. I would like to, if it's in order, I would like to move that the Finance Committee give the Executive Committee to act on their behalf during the summer months, and that we will come back in September, and if need be, the full committee will vote on some of the articles that they dealt with during the summer. So I'd like to place that in motion if it's a,
Absolutely, you're always good at remembering that. Do I have a second on that?
Second.
Second by Vin. All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. All right, guys, unfortunately, we're gonna probably be bugging you a couple times during the summer with subcommittees and, oh. You're always on the Roberts rules. So he turned the meeting back to me, didn't he?
oh, I did, you
said it.
didn't hear me?
Okay.
I did, before I made the motion.
I know. You're unbelievable. Lost my train of thought. Oh, the summer. So you're probably gonna be getting some subcommittee stuff, because as you know, obviously October's capital, we got a lot on there, and we're gonna need to hit the ground running in September, so subcommittee's gonna be active. No subcommittee changes from last year, so check the list. The only one change is Phil's gonna be off schools, and if I have a volunteer, anyone who's interested in being involved in the school subcommittee, please let me know, and I'll add you on there. I am gonna need someone, so if I don't get a volunteer, I'm putting my hand in the hat and pulling a name. You want on, Andy? That a boy. Thank you.
That was like everybody takes one step back, right?
That's right.
I said Vin, not Vic. All right, so we got the committee filled. Thank you. Soon, when Phil leaves eventually, you'll be to be a water commissioner. You won't be low man on the totem pole anymore.
There you go.
Newbie.
Yeah. With that being said, is any other business anybody has?
Move for adjournment.
All right, guys. All those in favor for adjournment? Unanimous. Have a great summer, everybody. I'm sure I'll be seeing you.
Aldo, I want to tell you, I think you did a great job.